Okay. Welcome everybody. Welcome to our session today on how to win more leads at IMEX, and in particular IMEX America. But what we're going to share today are tips that will help you in most trade shows that you attend. I guarantee you that they're just going to be practical and that you are going to walk away with tips that you will find easy to implement across your sales journey, across your approach with clients. But we're really focused in on your journey with the client and for IMEX, and how to win more leads, because you're putting a lot of time into it. You're making a significant investment, and we want to make sure that that pays off for you. And there's a little prize today for whoever is really engaging in the chat box there. I love for it to be a two-way exchange, right? For people to be asking me questions, and I'm going to be asking you questions. If you can answer them, that would be mighty, right? Have we any first timers at IMEX? I'm just curious there. If you put your hands up virtually, it'd be interesting. I just want to get kind of a poll to see who's first timer. A few of you have written to me, but what we really want to make sure. Okay, so Brandy is, Emily is, Camille is, Shannon is.
First
Okay,
time Vegas, but not Frankfurt.
first time Vegas. That's grand. Okay,
Yes.
no problem. Okay, so you're kind of used to the flow of it a little bit, but Vegas is Frankfurt on another level. Okay, when you walk into the room, it's like, whoo, there's just a cacophony of sound, and you can just hear the vibe and the energy. But Vegas in itself also adds to that. Okay. So we want to look at the 3 Ps. There's 3 things that I really want to that are so important to get right about trade shows. Okay, so the first is the preparation, and you know, the time and effort that you put into preparing for this show will pay off for you. So preparation, you've got about 4 weeks in order to do that. And the second thing that'll make a big difference to the results that you get is how you perform on the day, right? The third is the follow-up, the post-event follow-up. We don't have time to go into that today, but that is really going to be critical to move the contacts that you have met into that client zone. Okay. So we're going to go through some website profile tips. So how are you getting yourself set up? That all of that activity is happening on the background, in the website on the background. Okay, so we want to make sure that you're getting yourself set up right in order to maximize opportunities. And I want to share with you a case study on how Karen managed to walk away with 100,000 in confirmed business from her first event, her first trip, first IMEX experience. Okay. So we've had lots of questions, the big ones, right? How are we securing quality appointments? There's still a little bit of background noise. I think, Rebecca, it might be you. Will you please put yourself on mute? Thanks a million. You know, your voice is very important, but for now, when we have to get through a few things, if everybody can put this on mute, that would be mighty. And Richard is trying to get through everybody in the background there and make sure that that is happening. Okay. So other questions, outreach to prospects. How do you link them back to book an appointment with you? And how do you get appointments with people that you want, but you've never had contact with them before? Okay. And Mara would have had those same challenges, right? But she changed what she had written on her website. She took my advice in terms of how are you approaching, how are you inviting people to connect with you, to have a meeting with you on at IMEX, and she doubled her appointments year on year. Okay, so The previous year, she hadn't attended my webinar. The next year, she'd done some work with me, and we managed to double that. So you might be saying, who is Kira? Where is she coming from with all of this? Well, I lived and worked in America for almost 10 years. Started with IHG in San Francisco. I opened the Omni San Francisco Hotel in 2001, 2002, showing my age here now, folks. Then when I moved back to Ireland, I founded findaconferencevenue.com, and that gave me like a buyer's perspective. It really helped me to see the business from the buyer's point of view. And I could see then the mistakes that I had made when I was in sales mode with hotels. And I really wanted to make a difference, to do something about it. So I started to write this book, and that gave me clarity. That helped me to see a system that's going to help you to win your business. And it really is. And what I'm doing today is I'm helping you to step back and to look at your business from the buyer's point of view, from your client's point of view. Okay. And this is a picture of my dad and myself. And, I still remember him just throwing me up in the air and catching me, of course, every time. But really, that to me says trust. And this is so much of the work that you have in the next few weeks, is to build trust with people that you have never met before from a distance. How do you build trust with them on the website, on the IMEX website, in your communication with them, and help them to want to meet with you, right? Because that's the first obstacle, is for them to give you their time. Okay. So how are we going to do that? We're going to look at ways to do that today. But I also want to check in with you on what are your expectations from attending events. Do you have you written down? Have you clarity on, well, how many leads would I like to get? How many meaningful connections would I like to get? What do you want to make sure, even on a monetary point of view, do you have a monetary amount in your head of what in the next year you need to be able to tie back to IMEX, say, I got this amount of business because of attending this show. Can you just put it in the chat box there? Because I think it's important to have a think about that. Maybe you haven't thought about that before, but it's going to be important, I feel, to have an idea and have that thought through. Okay. So I'll give you a minute to think about it. And then if you can put it in the chat box, that'd be great. Now, maybe it is that it's a brand awareness that, is a really big aim. But when you think through brand awareness, how are you going to measure that? Okay. Okay. Interesting stuff coming through there now. 5 leads. 3 viable leads. Never thought it, but I'm all about manifesting. Oh, I love it, Sarah. Manifest away. 10 qualified leads, 30 meaningful connections, 50,000. Okay. Love it. A few other people liking it as well, Sarah. If you're manifesting, go for higher, I say, monetary needs 3 to 5 times what you're spending. Jessica needs 25 new connections and 100K in new business. David, brand awareness mostly as an independent. But David, I'm just asking you, how are you going to measure that? What would brand awareness be for you? It's just to put those parameters in place for yourself right now. Dave, 20 leads. Okay, 20 is a good bit, Dave. Tell me what your business is, okay? Leah, like to create meaningful connections with all my meetings, and my expectations a number of leads be around 5 to 10. Fabulous. Okay, 200,000 for Abdullah, okay? That's 20 leads and limitless meaningful connections. Okay, limitless, you're going to be a busy man. It's hard to make limitless meaningful connections, but I know what you mean, right? You're going for maximizing your 3 or 4 days there. Okay. So great. So there's a lot, there's a lot, there's a lot there. There are high expectations there. So that in order for those to be delivered, what you do in the next 3 to 4 weeks is definitely going to be key. An expectation that I would recommend, that I think is a very viable, is a very meaningful way of measuring, is to get a second meeting, because it's really hard to generate a lead within 5, 10, 20 minutes, whatever length of time that you get with a client. So that second meeting, to me, IMEX is a perfect platform for getting meeting people that you will figure out have an opportunity, and you need to get a second meeting with them. So how are we going to do that? Well, what I want to walk you through are two particular steps. So number one, this is of my steps to win. How do we stand out and how do we sound different? And that's key to your preparation and the work in order to really attract the right kind of buyer. And when you're looking at what you're writing on your on your website, like a lot of what I'm reading is that people are talking about exceeding clients' expectations, that they're a leading DMC, that they're the third largest hotel in USA or Europe, that they're creating memorable experiences, convenient or great location. If you're saying that you have a convenient or great location, the question that I have in my head as a buyer is, well, what is great and convenient about that? How is that going to help me in my meeting or running my event? If you're saying that your location is going to help to get more people to it, or if they're going to arrive less stressed, then great, less hassle, less stress, all of that kind of thing. But convenient or great location, all of these phrases are overused in the industry, and they're not going to help you to stand out. And in fact, they're going to just make you sound generic, like everyone else. Okay. And commoditization, unfortunately, has happened in our industry. So we have to stand out. You have to really separate yourself from everyone else in order to be like a magnet to the clients that you want to connect with. And my tip is for you is, when you're designing your communication, when you're putting some thought into it, what do you want your clients walking away feeling, thinking, doing, or saying, right, as a result of your communication? And this, works across the board, and even in sending an email. What do you want them feeling, thinking, doing, and saying different as a result of your communication? If we think about that on another level before sending anything to the client, it's going to help you to attract more of the right buyers. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Richard now briefly for this. This is the second year of the new layout and of the new platform. And this is the first page that they will land on when they come to when you log into the system. Okay, so the main navigation panel is on the left there, and what I want Richard to share with you is that there's a new tab. It's a recommendations tab. Do you have a minute there, Richard, to
Yeah,
join us a little bit about this?
yeah, of course. So nearly all appointments, or most of the appointments, are made through your exhibitor directory entry. So when you log in, you will have your personal profile, and then this appears on the attendee list. And then you also have the company profile as well, which is where most of the buyers will make the appointment from. But what we've noticed as well is throughout the process is the buyers will tell us when they register what they're interested in. So if they're interested in a hotel in Miami, or different parts of the world, or DMCs, or whatever instance that it is, but they tell us that sometimes 3-4 months ago, once they register for the show. And likewise, you tell us what you do. So if you're a hotel, a DMC, you've placed those tags on your exhibitor directory entry along with the country that you're from. And so what the recommendations does is that it matches the buyer with what they've told us that they're interested in with what you are. So like I said, if you're a hotel in Miami and a buyer says they're interested in a hotel in Miami, then they will appear in this list. New for this year, though, that it's also going to look at the behavior of the buyer. So if the buyer has made appointments with certain exhibitors, we will know in live time that those are the type of exhibitors that they're actually interested in. And so if they've made a couple of appointments with a DMC in Miami and you're a DMC in Miami, you will then come into their recommendations list. So the system will be learning from the behavior of the buyer and you to try and improve the matches. Because obviously with the categories, it's quite limited in terms of, a buyer may give us a very long list of things that they're interested in. And so it may give a very long list of exhibitors. So we're trying to narrow that down by actually looking at the behavior of the buyer moving forward, which will then help to give you better recommendations. So when you log in, do look at this. The buyers will see the recommendations of exhibitors. You will see the recommendation of buyers. And then it will change daily as buyers are logging into the system and making their appointments because the system will learn who's actually interested. Also new for this year, when a buyer makes an appointment with a certain exhibitor, they will get a pop-up to say, because you're interested in this exhibitor, how about these exhibitors? And it will list exhibitors that are tagged in the same way. It will also look through any text that you've put onto your directory entry. So just make sure your directory entry is filled out as best as it can, because the AI system in the background will look through all of the text. And if there's any matches in the text to matches in the text that people they've already got an appointment with, it will bring you up as a recommendation. So yeah, the main thing is just to make your exhibitor directory entry as robust as possible, so that you will appear within as many recommendations and searches as possible.
Okay. And that literally will come from in the back end of the system where you're ticking, okay, I am a hotel in London, in the UK. So you're ticking London, ticking UK, ticking hotel, ticking we have over 100 rooms, ticking we've conference space for 500 people, that type of thing, right?
Yeah, so it will match that, but then it will also start to learn and look at your text as well. So if there's a match in the description of if a buyer's made an appointment with an exhibitor and then the information in their About Me section is similar to what you have, it will also pick up that and bring that up as a recommendation. So in your text, if you put we specialize in events in Brighton, and they've made an appointment that's also mentioned Brighton, you would appear in that search as well, in that recommendation.
Okay.
And yes, there's a couple of comments in the chat about you don't see that. This will go live on Monday on the 9th, along with the attendee list, and the 9th is when the buyers can start making appointments with you.
Yeah. Okay. So you can see AI is very much at in play in the background here. Okay. So there's a favorites tab also. And so we would advise that you click into that, Richard, because perhaps a buyer favorited you. Is that correct? They may not have made an appointment with you, but they can favorite you.
Yeah, so the favorites, from the 9th, you can look through the attendee list, favorite buyers, and then they will appear in your favorites list. The buyer will get notified that you have favorited them. And then from the 9th, you will be able to send a message to those buyers as well. You can favorite other exhibitors. Buyers can favorite you, but it's just another way of interacting with the buyers. When everything goes live, you can see at the top there's a button that says My Dashboard. When you click on that, it gives you a list of all of your interactions. So it will show you everyone who looked at your page, sent you a message, made an appointment with you. So that's always a good place to start, because if you've got a list of, say, 10 people that have viewed your page but haven't actually made an appointment, you can then send them a message in order to say, well, I see that you've been to my page. Is there anything I can help you with? Send them the link to your exhibitor directory page to make a meeting. So we do give you all of the information about everyone who's interacting with you throughout.
Yeah. Okay, Mighty. And in the top right there, keep an eye on notifications as well, because you could have received a message that way. So there's the profile preview. The IMEX team are recommending to click on that before you log out in order to check how does it look, because that will show you how your page looks to the buyer, right?
Yeah, so that one on your personal profile, that profile preview, that will is what the buyer sees on the attendee list. And then on the company page, that profile preview is exactly what it looks like to the buyer in your exhibitor directory. But the exhibitor directory is live now. So what I would suggest is go to the exhibitor directory, click through some random entries, and you'll see what stands out for you. There's some that has all the information, like they've added all their products, they've added videos, and you can see how it stands out compared to the basic ones that have written 2 sentences on their about me and uploaded a logo. So do just have a look through the exhibitor directory and have some ideas of what people have done well, and what would make you click on one of them and make an appointment with them, because if you're interested in reading the information, the chances are the buyers would be.
Yeah, absolutely. The more engaging, the more interesting you can make it, the better it is. Okay. So I'm going to ask for your help here now, folks. And that is, we're going to play a little bit like a dating game. So I've gone through a few of the profiles, and some people have sent me profiles, and I want you to either click left, or swipe right as to if this is someone or a company or a profile that you would say yes to, that you would want to have a meeting with. Okay. So everybody, if you can get involved in this, let me know. Are you swiping left or swiping right? That would be great. Okay. Is that fair enough, folks? Okay. So this is in terms of the profile wording, which is really critical in helping you to attract the right kind of buyers. Okay. So Amir wrote to me and said that they've been attending the trade show for the last number of years, but always had difficulties in trying to come up with the right content and the structure for the appointments and emails that you send out to buyers. And so I was wondering if you could give me advice on what buyers are looking for content-wise and what possibly could help us to stand out from the crowd. Okay. So I asked Amir to send me what it is that they are using in their profile and in trying to get an appointment with a client. And this is the information here. This is what they would send. So first off, without even reading through it all, tell me, what's your instinct? Would you swipe left or swipe right? Too wordy. Left. Okay. So there's a lot of lefts, too long, too wordy. Yep. Left, left. Oh, poor Amir is getting no swiping right at all. Okay. Right. So yes, straight away, I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed, right? It's a lot of words. And my impression, like, from when I was a buyer, my impression would be that if I turn up to this appointment, that I will probably have to listen to a sales pitch, that this person is just going to talk at me for the full 20 minutes, which can be okay in your first few appointments as a buyer at IMEX, but come the end of day 1, come day 2 and day 3, they're exhausted, right? And all of that, just the sales pitches and all the fabulous photographs are just forgotten. So we really have to make an effort in order to stand out. Okay. So what I want to show you now, folks, is how to use AI. right? Like for me, you know, I work with hotels, I work with destinations, venues, technology companies around the world, and I'm helping them to really stand out and how do they attract the right buyers. But I'm not a copywriter, right? And I find, even though I'm an author of a book, I find copywriting to be quite exhausting. And you know, if you're in sales, you know, it's hard to come up with stuff all the time, right? So I've really started playing around with AI a lot in the last number of months, and honestly, I'm having a great time with it, and I'm starting to get a lot of really great stuff out of it. But I've put a lot of time into it also, right? Now, what I do with AI is I call her Mona, right? First of all, for me, I kind of feel like I'm talking to someone or I'm working with someone rather than to a machine. But I've also the paid version, right? I did try the free version, and the free version to me was just a waste of time. And it put me off. So the paid version is $20 a month. It's definitely worth it. So I tell Mona what I'm going to do. So, right, Mona, we're going to do some work on IMEX today. Want to help a client rewrite their about page, and where they need to write a description that's going to attract more event planners, conference organizers to book an appointment with them. We need to share the results and the impact of working with them, and perhaps a short testimonial, a previous client from booking with their system, right? So I tell Mona what I want Mona to do, and I give Mona an idea of the kind of wording, right? So Mona's like, great, sounds wonderful, happy to help you rewrite the page to be more compelling for event planners. And then I copied in what Amir sent me, right? So all that stuff that you just swiped left to, okay? And so Mona rewrote it, okay? And first of all, visually, it's a lot better, right? Because she's kind of putting subheadings telling me and directing my eyes really in order to go down through it, okay? So it was a very good first job, right? So then I'm like, okay, Mona, fabulous. Please take out exceed expectations. That personally is my pet peeve. I can't stand the expression because everybody uses it. And please put the success stories earlier, right? So I want to tell the client about our success stories earlier, right? So she just, you know, redid it a little bit, and great. You know, it's an awful lot. It's an awful lot better. So, you know, first glance, if this was what you're seeing in the description, would you swipe left or would you swipe right based on you know, how Mona is helping here based on what she said, okay? Left or right? So then I asked Mona to rewrite it really short, right? Okay, and to give us some words in terms of how to invite the buyer to have a conversation. Okay, so I'm just curious. Did you go right or left based on the rewrite? Okay, so a lot more rights. Yay, fantastic. Much better, but still too long. True, Katie, it is. But as Richard was saying there, you want to make sure that you have a few of the keywords in there also in order to help you to be found. But I agree, like the first paragraph is what's going to be really, really critical. And based on that, they will decide if they'll click in and read more. And people are scanning. You know, nobody has time to read through 500 words. So people are scanning, and so you have to write it in scannable format. So that means short sentences and short paragraphs. And just as Mona did there, give me some taglines, right? So give me some paragraph headings in order to direct me. Okay. So is that of value to you folks? Yeah. Okay. Okay, mighty. So based on that, shorten it, but in particular, the first paragraph is what is going to be, you know, really, really, really important. Okay, and just as a you know, to have another piece of knowledge on ChatGPT, I just looked this up today. I didn't even know what the GPT stands for. It's Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Okay, but what we want to make sure that we're doing here, folks, is trust is building community, and you're building a connection from a distance. So what you are putting in there is going to be really, really important. Okay. So Abdullah wanted me to take a look also at the profile. Okay. So what I want to do now is go into that. Okay. So sorry, we need to get into the IMEX website here. Okay. Okay. So this is the page that we land on when we're finding or discovering the Bowtree London, right? Which is a new property. So as you can see here on the right, the importance of making sure that you have all of your photographs in there. So I can see a double room and make sure that that is a standard double room that they would get if they were booking a meeting, conference, or event. Don't just put up your you know, your superior ones or your suites, you know. Make sure that that all of the options are up there, and your event spaces. And I'm sure you'll get around to this, but you know, the clients, they're looking now, so try and get all of this stuff up there as much as possible. Okay. So Abdullah has told us where they're exhibiting, which is on preferred hotels and resorts. Again, I would just put in the okay, well, it's here anyway, the Bayside, but just make sure that that's obvious, the number of your stand. Okay. And here, so in the wording, folks, you know, let me know, is it a left or is it a right here, in terms of the wording? So for me, Abdullah, I feel this is written from someone who, from a perspective of you're feeling that someone knows London, or you know, knows exactly where Mayfair and Marylebone Lane are. Okay, I don't think you can make those assumptions. So I would reword that you're in the heart of where maybe the business district and the centre of culture of London or whatever meet. Okay, so something about that kind of location. But I think that through the wording here, reading down through it, I think that there's an opportunity to bring a lot more of the personality of the hotel to the forefront here. Because when I did click into your LinkedIn videos and profile, there's a lot of personality. You know, I learned more about the people of the hotel, and that connections and really being part of the neighborhood and all of that is really, really important. And so I want to read more about that when I'm in here also. So yeah, so 199 guest rooms, but tell me maybe, you know, a little bit more about the event space and how what numbers that it can accommodate, right? I can see down here under product categories, capacity of up to 200, but I would just kind of reiterate that down towards the end. I'm not sure if knowing about the architects and the interior designers, if that would be really important to me. But I think that there's a lot more that we can focus on here at the beginning in terms of really bringing me in. You know, what are your event planners saying now? What are your existing customers saying now? That's really going to help me to just be more curious and kind of fall in love with the property a little bit, and to say, you know, that just looks interesting. I want to have a meeting with Abdullah, because there's 1,000 hotels in London, right? There's going to be a lot of competition there, and you really need to help yourself to stand out. And in the About Me section, I think that's where you have a big opportunity also to get to help the planner to get to know you a little bit. I did work with a guy last year, and he was struggling to get appointments. He had 4 appointments, and he was about 3 weeks out, and he really needed to get more appointments. And so we did a lot of work in the profile area. And when I got to know him, I discovered that his passion was taking apart mini cars and renovating them all, and really, you know, doing a big makeover job on them. And I just thought that was so interesting. So we made sure to put that in, and planners loved it. You know, we had people getting in contact saying, "Wow, what an interesting pastime that you have, hobby that you have." So don't be afraid to tell us a little bit more about maybe you're telling us what you really love about the property or why you work there. But don't be afraid to show a little bit of personality. I think that's what's really, really important, folks. It doesn't have to be, you know, sterile and strict and all business-like. The more you can share, I think, the better that is in terms of helping you to attract more of the right kind of buyers, okay? Because on your LinkedIn page, Abdullah, I read these words: every guest that stays has their own story to add to ours, and they fill our spaces with connection and meaning. And this was a particular story about the tennis player Ons Jabeur with her inspirational story. So tell us a little bit more. Give us a little bit more about the personality of the property. And same for this one, folks. You know, straight off, this is an email to the client to try and get them to book an appointment with you. Would you swipe left or would you swipe right? Does this really entice you, engage you, and just say, yeah, I'd really love to meet with this person or learn more about this property? Okay. Are we getting lefts or rights? Yeah, we're getting a few lefts. Yeah, absolutely. You know, things we can shorten it up. But for me, I think what's really important is to invite people to have a conversation, because that's where the opportunity is. Okay. So can you do this, folks? Put your little fingers, your fingers together like this, okay, so that your thumbs are crossed over. Okay. Now observe when you do that. Is your left thumb over your right or your right thumb over your left? How is that working for people? Left over right or right over left? Okay, just, you don't have to tell me, just observe. Okay, so take them apart and put them together again. Okay, left over right or right over left? For me, it's the same. My left thumb is over my right. Okay. Now take them apart. And this time, I want you to do something different. I want you to push your right pinky inside your left pinky. Okay. Now tell me, is your left thumb over your right or your right thumb over your left? Is it different or is it the same? Right? For me, it's different. And why is that? It's because we did something different. And if we want to get a different result, we have to do something different. It's very tempting, I know, to just copy and paste and do the same as you've done at other trade shows, or as you've done every other time before. Okay, Stephanie here, Stephanie Doyle, was exhibiting from Australia for the first time. She did something very different. And the way she engaged with planners and got them to have a meeting with her is she really embraced her being from Australia, right? And she explained the difference in the language, and she gave us a little descriptive dictionary almost here on good day is good morning or hello. Arvo is afternoon. Mate means friend, okay? I loved it, right? So I went, had to go meet Stephanie after she sent me this and told me what she was doing. And this was herself and myself, and this was day 1 of IMEX at lunchtime, right? And already she had 5 requests for RFPs, right? By lunchtime on day 1, right? So it really worked for her. She brought the personality, she brought her true Australianism, if that's a word, and it helped her to get more appointments, right? And what I want you to think about, right, when we're looking at the platform of IMEX and the opportunity that it is here, I want you to look at the buying process. And this is a demographic that my friend from GetGo, Amy Infante, created, right? Or an infographic rather. So if you're looking at step 1 here, so we're looking at the buyer's marketplace, and that's where they are right now. And something is changing in their marketplace. And they realize that they have to find, they have new needs, right? They need to react, they need to do something different. And step 3 then is they have to go into research mode and ideate mode, right? In order to come up with a solution, right? Step 4 is a solution assessment to what is happening in their business, to a new need that they have. So step 5, and let's imagine that this solution assessment is an event. They want to do something different. They want to create an experience. So step 5 is then they're building this internal business case. They're deciding what are the important outcomes. They're deciding whose budget is this going to be under, right? Who's going to lead the project? And then, and only then, do they connect with you, right? That there's this vendor engagement that happens and an assessment and select. So you can see that you come in quite towards the end of a whole process that has been happening in their business. And the more that you can engage with the buyer earlier on, right? Earlier on, when they're realizing that there's change happening, that there's things coming down the line, that they're going to need something different from their events, from whatever it is that they're working on. The more you can engage with them earlier on and have an input and make a mark and really make a difference here, the more that you're going to win in step 6 and 7. And so IMEX really gives you that platform because people, not everybody there is going to walk in with an RFP, right? A lot of buyers are there to get ideas. A lot of buyers are there to find future partners, to research on trends, to research on potential destinations, potential venue partners, potential technology partners. And so that's what the opportunity is. So not everybody is ready to buy right now, but you have to make sure that you can take them from that research mode that they are in and be with them the whole way through the journey until they are ready to buy. And that takes time, and that is going to take designing an experience for them that will start at IMEX, but has to go the whole way through until they are ready to buy, maybe in 6 months' time, maybe in a year's time, okay? And that you are and that you're prepared to do that, because that's what's going to help you to get a bigger ROI, not just this year, but next year and maybe even the year after, okay? And it's no longer really about how you want to sell. It's about how the planner really wants to buy, okay? And we have to think of it in that way. So based on the work we've done so far, folks, I'm asking you, what are you going to change about your profile or about your marketing email, your reach out email to the client? Okay, I'm going to give you a minute to think about that. And then if you could share it in the chat box, that'd be brilliant. Okay, let me go into the chat box. Tanya, yes, I'm recording this, so I'm going to share that. Yeah. And somebody else asked about slides. I don't share the slides, but I can share the recording. Okay, so Cheryl is going to focus on the About Me section. Oops, there's a lot coming in. It moved. Focus on the About Me section of my profile rather than just the company profile. Yeah, absolutely. Brandy is going to be authentic in the About Me section. Fabulous. Okay. Steve is going to show his Canadian personality, eh? Fantastic. Jennifer, she's going to use AI to consult my About profile. Fantastic. Make it more personal. Anna is going to make it more personal and not too formal. Okay, wonderful. Stacey, adding personality, adding video. Yes, you know, there's other opportunities in there. There's another tab on the left, and there's opportunity, there's room in there for video. So wherever you can put in photo and video, definitely do that. So Vania is going to shorten the hotel profile and make it easier to read. Okay, fantastic. Ava, you're realizing yours is too long. You're going to add venues for groups instead. Okay. Gretchen, should be more focused on our destinations and, should we be more focused on our destination or our specific product? So you mean in telling me more about the destination, Gretchen? Just give me a little bit more detail on that question. Like what is your specific product? Okay.
So I sell venues in Philadelphia, and so I guess the first question, because I'm a first-time exhibitor, is am I trying to get them to come to Philadelphia first and foremost and then sell them my product, or am I just trying to talk to them about my product?
Yeah, I would let them know that you have a number of different options for them, for different event personalities or whatever within Philly. So you kind of have to find that balance between both, you know, why Philly? Yes, but you have to tell us that you represent a number of different types. And so you always have, you have a choice there for them. Okay. But again, you're focused on really just trying to pull them in so that you can have a chat with them and understand what it is that's more important to them. So Richard's going to put this link in the chat box there for me. But if you want to work more on this, because I know it's really hard to do by yourself. If you want to really help to nail what should your profile look like, what should your invitation emails look like, how do I get the wording? How do I get my presentation right? Even that's something that I can help you to do in the master classes that I've created that will help you to win more leads at these trade shows and other road shows and different sales calls. Okay. But standing out, sounding different, how do you get the client excited to show up to an appointment with you? So that's another thing. You can get an appointment, but you want to make sure that you're creating a connection, that they're starting to get to know you from the minute that you have that they have said yes to an appointment with you. And because you have how long do you have, Richard, at IMEX? It's average maybe about 20 minutes, like 15-20 minutes. And when you take into account that you have to do a little bit of chit chat, right? And you kind of have to warm them up a little bit. You still need to figure out what business potential, what opportunities do they have. The more that they can sit down already feeling that they know you, the more that you can get down to business. Now, I don't mean being all serious and all business, but there has to be that fine line between talking all about Las Vegas, talking about the weather, talking about how the show is going for them. How was your flight? All of that can take 10 minutes and really making sure that it's a focused and that it's a strategic and that there's, business outcomes coming from that conversation also. Okay. So I work with you to help you to try and get that right in the masterclass. Okay. Because Marina here went from having 6 appointments to 26 appointments after doing a little bit more work with me and going a bit deeper. Okay. So Nashville, let me give you one more example of showing a bit of personality. And what I liked about this destination is that it's Nashville, it's all about music, and they're talking about, you won't be singing solo as you plan your Music City meeting. meeting. We're here from you from the initial rehearsal to the final performance. And the city's creativity and friendly Southern hospitality will not make your planning experience, or will not only make your planning experience a chart topper, but your attendees will call it a hit. You know, I love that. It's pure Nashville and definitely shown a bit of personality. But at the end of the day, the clients don't care about your business. They care about their problems and their business. So you have to direct everything to be all about them. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about performance on the day. And Dee Dee here, I came across her on LinkedIn, and I came across her with this this post, right? So she was talking, she sells technology, right? And she was talking about, she was trying to be creative while prospecting. And LinkedIn gave me the perfect opportunity with Matthias Fohl. He posted that he's taken part in a Garmin Pink Challenge for breast cancer awareness for October. Now, Matthias was a potential perfect client for her. So she decided to, you know, stick her neck out there and to connect with him and offered him, if I do 100K and send you the proof, will you take a meeting with me to discuss BlackBerry clients? And he loved it. He thought this was great, you know, very different. And he said yes. Okay. So I followed up with Dee Dee and I asked her, well, you know, did you get a meeting with him? And it turns out she got a face-to-face meeting with him because they were going to be at the same trade show within a few weeks. So I connected with her. I said, great, best of luck. If you want some tips on how to lead the conversation with him, let me know. She says, I'm fine. I've got it, Kira. I said, perfect. So I followed up with her afterwards and I asked her, how did it go? And she said, you know, she said, I think it went great because I got to go through my whole slide deck. And honestly, my heart sank because that to me is a wasted opportunity when you get one-to-one with a client on the first meeting. Right. I'm quite sure that he didn't turn up in order to just look at a deck of slides and PowerPoint slides. Okay. So how can you be really compelling? How can you be really, you know, make a connection with the client so that they want to have that second meeting? Like Dee Dee didn't get the chance to have a second meeting with this potential client because she blew it in the first one. Okay. So that's the big opportunity that you have with IMEX. And that's the step 2. How do you lead that conversation and really ask the questions that are going to help the client to open up, right? And I call these the value creation conversation skills. How are you really engaging with them so that they are opening up and they're telling you what's most important and what's going to help them to book with you? And I feel in particular in the events industry, we really have to stop what I call the dates, rates, and space conversation, because that's a conversation that everybody has, right? And the client needs more than this in order to connect, in order for them to trust you and say, you know what, I'm really liking their style here. This is something different. These I see as partner potential, because you want to be positioned as that partner, right? You want to be seen as that partner as opposed to being the supplier. Because when you're seen as a supplier, the conversation can be all about rate, and you want to avoid that. Okay, so is this making sense to you folks? Is this of value to you? We have 6 minutes left. Is this helping? Yeah, just sharing the screen in the chat box there if that's if that's of help to you. Okay, so I teach a conversation frame, and it's just a guideline. It's not a script at all. But, you know, how do you really lead that conversation? How are you opening it and taking the lead? How are you? Number 2 is that gap analysis. How are you really figuring out what's important to the client? Then yes, you do need to share how you can help them. You do need to give them a glimmer of showing them that you could be that right fit. And step 4 is that next step. How are you making sure that you always know what your next step is with the client? Okay. So Lilo here, she changed her conversation with a client, and the client actually said thanks. He said nobody asked questions from him. They just show PowerPoint presentations. And she really liked that, just been able to shift from that us to you mentality. And that has worked wonders for how she thinks about the whole sales process. Okay. And you know, this, folks, it's your mindset, right? And mindset is always a choice. You can choose to stay and do things the way you're doing, or you can decide to change. Talk about performance at the show, folks. This lady is called Dawn, and she represents a property that is beside a race course. So she decided to turn up to IMEX dressed as if she was going to the races. And everybody loved it, because what that meant was, yes, people who had an appointment with her, you know, the conversation was great. They loved her. They warmed to her so quickly. But also, she had a lot of people walk onto her stand and say, I love what you're wearing. Tell me where, you know, why are you dressed like this? Where is it coming from? So she opened up a lot of conversations at the show. And so it went so well for Dawn. She was talking to me the next year, and she says, Kira, I don't know how I'm going to top that. What am I going to do next year? Well, this is what she did. And my slide won't go. Come on. There. She dressed like a jockey. I thought it was fantastic. You know, it was a real wow. It was a fantastic winner for her, and she had one of the best shows ever. Okay. So folks, if you've been to IMEX before, put some of your best tips in the chat box there for the people who are there for coming for the first time. You know, I would say attend the education sessions. There's a lot of them on the Monday, and if you can go to some in the morning or in the evenings, or if take lunchtime for yourself, take some time for yourself, because it can be exhausting, right? If you don't have an appointment, try and maybe stand outside your stand, right? Don't wait in the corner and you know, and be on the phone, because people are walking past, and if they see heads down and people just on the phone, they're not going to be enticed to just walk up to you. I see that all the time. And comfy shoes are all in. You do not have to wear the high heels. You do not have to wear the you know, hard black shoes, men. Whatever, show a bit of personality. Richard, your IMEX shoes went down a bomb last year, right? They have special shoes designed with IMEX and the shoelacers and everything, right? Everybody was talking about them. I like to create my own lanyard where my name is very prominent, where it's up here, right? So people don't have to look at your belly or in your chest area as a woman, which is even worse, because the lanyard happens to hang there. So the easier you can make it for people to make out your name, the better. Okay. If you want to talk more, if you want to work more with me to really help you to pop at IMEX and win more business, this is the link, and Richard will put it in the chat box there. And Richard, if you can put in my LinkedIn, that would be fabulous too. And if anybody else wants to put in their LinkedIn, let's all connect. Okay. So as part of this course, we'll walk through how to perform. How do you lead that conversation, and making sure that you're walking away with more second meetings, and overall create your trade show toolkit, right? What are your effective follow-up strategies? How do you maintain an engagement with contacts after the show, right? And turn your warm contacts into hot contacts into hot clients. We're going to make sure we look at all of that. Okay. So conversations create cash. You have a massive opportunity there at IMEX in order to do that. Okay. I'll go through the chat box, and I'll see who was the most engaged, who was very active in there. But most of all, what I want to know now, folks, is what are you going to do different as a result of the last hour? Right? If you're not going to change anything, if you're not going to do anything different, then we've wasted an hour of our life. Please don't say that has happened. What I'd love to know is, what are you doing different? What are you going to do different as a result of the last hour? Okay. Is there anything that you're taking on board? Okay. Okay, so let me see. So great to see all this loving this comments in there. Love taking photos with clients and using LinkedIn to shout out later. Yeah, that's a great one, Sarah. Absolutely. You know, you have to remember what everybody's face is like, but also it's a good one to send to them afterwards, because they it helps them to remember you that little bit more too. Okay, great tip, Sarah. Thank you. Richard, comfortable shoes. Yeah, there's a lot of walking, and remember the buyer, they're doing more of the walking. And you know, keep yourself hydrated. Make sure that you're offering them some water, some refreshment, because it is exhausting walking around. Christina, you're going to wear these. Which shoes is it? Jamie, thank you. This was perfection. Oh, fabulous. Really helpful, Laura. Mighty. Okay. So let me see, what else are people saying there? So Tanya is going to review and change your profile. Mighty. Steph is going to do the same thing. Mary is going to review profile entirely with all the tips in mind. Mighty. Jackie is going to change up the profiles to make them a bit more personal and fun. Fantastic, because that's all your personality, Jackie. Anna, today changed my perspective. Oh, that's lovely to hear. Thank you, Anna. Sarah has already changed your profile a tad, and now you have to go shopping. Priorities. She's going out to buy new comfortable shoes. Wait and you see. Stacey is going to do the profile. Mighty. Natalia, thank you so much for this. Lots of work to do after this. Absolutely. Mariana is going to improve the profile. Karis, this stood out to me. Not how you want to sell, but how you want to buy. How they want to buy. Good woman. Thanks, Karis. Anna is, you're going to make it more fun. Dave, it's all about bringing the personality. Absolutely. Katie, you're going to do less dates, rates, and space unless requested, and more you, not us, more personality and sneakers. Absolutely. It's a great excuse to buy really cool, comfortable shoes. For sure. Mighty. And you know what? There will be buyers who will turn up with RFPs, and make sure that you have some support in the office for someone to help you with that and get back to you with availability, or, you know, doing it up, because you don't want to be there trying to create proposals in the evening time when you need to be going to some of the evening events. And I would say attend the IMEX run if you can. What would you say, Richard? You know, I'm not a runner, but I walk it, you know, but it's great. It's a good start to the day, but it's a good chance to meet people also. 7 a.m., you know, running or walking down the Vegas Strip there, it's a really nice start, and it's not roasting hot. It's usually pretty comfortable. Vania is going to change the about me, create a new name tag, fabulous, and take more pictures with clients and have more fun with them. Love the webinar. Look, it's mighty. We're gone past the hour. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time, for your energy. It is an honor to have an hour of your time, and I wish you well. If I can help you more, you know, in the next number of weeks, get in touch with me. But I wish you all the best. And of course, I'm going to be there. I'm speaking on Wednesday at 10 a.m. on Leading from the Heart. So that's for sales leaders there. And I'm also speaking at 1 o'clock on Wednesday on the menopause, because I've gone through it. I'm still in the middle of it probably, but for anybody who's curious about it, who could be leading a team, who are in that age group, it can start anywhere from 35 onwards, not to scare all you young ones out there. But knowledge is power, and I'm creating a safe space for people to talk about it. I'm not a medical expert. It's just a space to talk about how to manage the menopause and the perimenopause at work in particular. Okay, and of course the positive side to the menopause. Okay, is there anything else there that I'm missing, Richard, that I need to shout out? No. Okay, so Richard is telling everybody that all of the background stuff or the appointment system is opening on the 9th, right? So you still have a few days in order to really get your profile, get your about you, and get the back end of the system set up properly, right? Yeah. Okay. Brandy, very informative. Thanks so much. I'll be getting to work on my profile. Mighty, mighty. Okay, folks. Thank you so much. It's been an honor. Have a great rest of day, and we'll see you in Vegas. Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Brandy.
Thanks.
See ya.
Bye.